Mr. Chair.
Director Beall is recognized.
Thank you. I have a few questions for the directors from San Clement that put this on the agenda. So I'm looking at your proposals here, and I just want to make sure I understand exactly what it is you're asking for. As I look at the very first proposal, are you actually suggesting that I'll read your words, to put out a request for qualifications and bids for a true third-party independent forensic audit of all TCA consultant contracts, including but not limited to contracts for outreach, lobbying, legal, etc. So every contract that the TCA has, you're proposing that they be audited?
Yes.
And while the forensic audit is being completed, item 2 says, suspend all current and future consulting contracts. Just suspend them, regardless of what the contracts provide. Okay? Plain meaning of the words, I just want to make sure that's really what you meant. Number 3, to suspend all staff, all TCA staff, suspend all staff responsible for overseeing consultant contracts. Is that with pay, without pay? I don't know what that means, though.
Suspend all staff responsible for overseeing contracts until the above forensic analysis is complete. Is there any ambiguity that you want me to
Yes. Do they get paid? Do they not get paid?
No. Well, they're not going to be reviewing the contracts. That's the whole point.
Do they still have any activity?
Let me finish. Suspend them from reviewing the contracts. Correct.
That's not what it says. That's why I'm asking for clarification.
And I just provided it. Thank you.
All right. Number 5, direct staff to collect and present to the board an accounting of all political donations by a TCA consultant to a board member, as well as non-TCA consulting contracts awarded by a board member or their agency to a TCA consultant. So each elected official already has to file a 460 disclosing all their political donations. You're wanting our staff to go out and prepare a summary and present it?
If they want to do a summary, that's fine. Otherwise, they can collect the forms, present them. I know a lot of local agencies, public agencies have individual policies and practices that deal with political donations from consultants. If the board wants to consider that, I would certainly take a look at that as well.
Okay. I listened intently as the directors from San Clement gave their opening remarks. I heard that these are described as common sense practices that should have been adopted long ago, and that all of us would demand these same types of proposals in our own cities. Mm-hmm. How many of these have already been adopted in the city of San Clement?
You know, it's interesting you ask, because Director Ferguson and I are in the process of asking for and did ask for an update to our transparency ordinances to provide all of this information to the public. So
today, how many have been?
Please, we're in the process of doing that. So yes, we're updating that as well.
No, I'm not done. I'll simply say this. I supported the campaigns of our 2 newest directors from the city of San Clement in their recent elections in November to get elected. Why? Because they spoke to me of a desire to change San Clemente's long-standing adversarial and counterproductive relationship with the Transportation Corridor Agency, to fundamentally change San Clemente's approach to the TCA, to play a positive, a constructive role in working with all the TCA member agencies to help improve the quality of life and safety for our residents, achieve increased mobility for residents throughout Orange County. Of course, representing your constituents, of course, but to work in a positive, constructive, good faith framework. This agenda item is not at all what I was expecting. Not at all.
So
to me, I'm not done. This to me, in my opinion, it's another obvious political assault on the TCA. It's an attempt by San Clement to effectively put the TCA out of business. The breadth and scope of these recommendations are just so, again, in my opinion, so overreaching. In all my years of public service, I've never seen anything like it. I believe the recommendations, really, they're outrageous. I think they're insulting to the TCA staff and to the members of the board of directors sitting up here with you. It's offensive. I'd like to understand what the implication is when you want to go and scour 460s that are already of record for every elected official here. What are you trying to infer by whatever those would find? Why don't you turn to your fellow directors and say what it is you're trying to say about the integrity of the members of the TCA board, your colleagues here. What is it you hope to find there?
So there's no inference at all. It's for public, right? We have to provide the forms anyway. We all have to disclose as part of this process that information. They're public. Hyperbole aside, I'm not sure what you find offensive about providing public donations that are already provided to the public in a place to which they can find them. Is that offensive to you to provide that information to the public? Or is it just that you don't want to have to do that? I'm not sure what your question is.
You're missing my point. Each of us already does that. Those are matters of public record. And I think there's an implication that's being made, an inference, that somehow if any member of the TCA board has received any political donation from any contractor that may do business with this agency, that somehow they are bought and paid for. Just say it if that's what you think. I think it's highly offensive, and I reject it and find it terribly offensive.
So, and let me respond to that as a point of order. I'm sorry you find it offensive. It's not intended to be offensive. I would be subject to the same requirement as would Councilmember Ferguson. If the information is already being provided, I'm not sure what is so appalling or offensive about providing the information.
It's already a matter of public record. Every one of us. We file our 460s here and in our cities.
And providing that easily on the TCA website so the public can get access to that information easily, would that be offensive to you then?
Yes. Well, we do that at the city of San Clemente. Our city clerk posts our forms on the city website so people can see who have supported our campaigns, see if we have any conflicts, if we don't recuse ourselves at meetings. So it's all out there. I mean, we're not 100% transparent at San Clemente by any means. In fact, we have a long way to go, and we're getting pushback there. So as Director Bain said, that's one of our goals to get accomplished at the city of San Clemente. So I don't mean to offend you, Director Beall, and anyone else here. We just really want to be transparent and ask for the same, that's on the website here at the TCA for people to see. There have been consultants that have been long-term consultants here that have worked on some political campaigns with directors here that serve on the board. So we just want to be very open and transparent about that and accountable. And so that's what we're asking. And it was great to see that an external audit has already begun. That's great. I, like Director Bain, would have loved to have had input on that, so hopefully we can get some information on what that firm is about soon. But the purpose is really just to recommend steps to improve accountability and transparency and fiscal responsibility, and not to offend. Thank you.
I'm sorry that you're having pushback in the city of San Clemente in your efforts to seek transparency. There is no such pushback here. Every one of the directors here files their 460s. They are readily available to everyone. And as I stated, I think there's a negative inference that was intentional, that anyone that may have taken any political donation from anyone that does business with the TCA is somehow compromised or bought and paid for. And I find that highly insulting to every one of your colleagues on the board of directors. And because I find the scope, the breadth of what is being proposed here, I'm going to urge every member of the TCA board to reject in its entirety this proposal.
Thank you, Director Wong.